All right. Big, huge win, actually. We really needed that one. Um, I'm T-Dub. Mark is going to join shortly. I think Josh is going to join as well. Fresh and halves dip. They were too tired. It's past their bedtime, and no, I think they had other things planned. 72-68. What a big win. Yeah, as Dave said, let's go. Who's WHO survived that for sure. That was they had a little rush there at the end there, that I thought maybe they could come back. Um, Andrew Rohde, what a game, right? Like we got really hot there for that little stretch where McNeely hit two big threes. Um, Groves hit that three, and then as Mark said, Coach O got a takedown. That was nice. That was a nice um, referee takedown. What do you think of that, Mark?
I think O lived out every coach's and every fan's fantasy. I think he could have sold his moment. He could have sold his body out or body experience for $1 million.
No, that was hilarious.
Yeah,
I didn't see it happen live, but
and
uh, on the replay, it looked. I mean, it didn't look that bad. I was surprised he fell, but I guess he was just like reaching up and hit him.
I sent O a text. I
Uh,
told him he is the
Groves was the X factor in shooting tonight. He was. He hit. I mean, that little stretch with two McNeely threes and a Groves corner three. That was the difference in the game. Like that was the run we needed. 9-0 run gave us some breathing room there down the stretch, and we needed all of it because at the end there it got a little dicey. And as Tom said, with Ryan on the bench,
the the energy level though was tremendous.
I mean, we ended up going 8 for 21 from three, 38%, huge. They were 5 for 22, 22%, and our free throws were good, 16 for 22, 72%. Much improved over our usual whatever 60.
So
60.
I believe we were 2 for 9 from three in the first half.
Yes,
Yes, means we went 6 for 12
great.
second half. You shoot 50%. And
Yeah,
good
amazing.
outcome, but that means we gave up way too many points.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up being a high scoring game, 72-68, right? I think all of us had the game in the 50s and 60s. This was more than we expected in second half.
So much for my expertise. I said 55, 51.
Fouling Post almost did us in. He was 11-11. I mean, Post is really good, man. Every time I watch him, I'm more impressed. Like he can kind of do it all, right? Like he is the dynamic big man of today.
Were both of you surprised that BC didn't go to him late?
Very. I thought
Yeah,
we would have got a lot more Post.
How do you not go to your best player in the last two possessions? Like, what?
I was
Yeah.
kind of surprised we didn't go to Dunn on him until that very last kind of half possession there when we got the jump ball call. I was kind of surprised by that. I really thought when they got that baseline out of bounds, Dunn would have subbed in then and just didn't go to it.
Enjoyed the
Nice.
re-emergence of threes from Eric Thomas. Also, Beekman attacking the paint. Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
Dunn had 9 shots tonight.
Peggy saying our offense is better without Dunn.
3 for 9. Isaac
Here's-
McNeely. I'm telling you, just let him shoot.
His threes might not have went in or touched anything, but they did lead to points. So I mean, that kind of he had that going for him, I guess. If you can count that as an assist, I don't know.
I mean, Ryan had 8 and 13 boards. It's pretty strong.
Nine, 9 boards in the first half.
Yeah, 9 in the first half. That's
Only
pretty
so-
incredible.
He was playing aggressive too, so I mean, he didn't. It wasn't like he was playing a terrible game. It just things happen.
Yeah,
So,
Grove 13, 5 for 11, 3 for 6 from 3. That's big time.
did you check on Dougie?
Yeah, Dougie is probably yeah in
I hope
that.
he's not. I hope he's not considering doing something doing something horrible. So,
But
Yeah,
he kind of has a point though, right? I mean, the way that they were kind of staying in the game in the first half was their guards were getting inside and they were going to post ups and this and that and trying to play in the bigger game. Elijah would have helped with that. I mean, the way he can get up, like I don't think they would have scored like that on him. I mean, maybe they would have called fouls, maybe he would have been out of position, this, that, whatever. But his athleticism, I thought, was at least worth a try in the first half, right? Like,
yeah. Eric saying Dunn was better than people give him credit. His offensive boards were and tips were big. Yeah, they were.
yeah.
I thought he played fairly well, and just the fact that he's actually looking at the basket is a big step, and he's going to have to.
Did you happen to see Sam Hauser behind the bench? That was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Yeah, to survive some Thomas Edison calls after the ref hit by Orlando. Coach O definitely love Dunn on defense, but when he comes out, it opens up the floor. Offensive rebounding. Can IMAC attack the basket at all? He does a little bit. In the first
He
half, but
was
his
in the lane
first
a little
bucket,
bit in
he
the
hit a
first half.
floater.
And
Yeah, he attacked the rim and he hit a floater, but yeah, he doesn't do it very often. But when he does, it seems really, when guys touch the paint, good things happen. 45 points in the second half. Wow.
yeah, it was a good second half there.
So
Everybody
from-
started moving too, that helped more. A lot more movement everywhere, all over the place.
yeah, but here's the thing, right? I will always look at the competition, right? And so you can say 45 points against BC because it's BC, right? We're not. I don't think we're doing that to. That's exactly my point. WF is so higher. We're on the same way. We're just aligned tonight. But so yes, but they still brought energy, which was the big
Yeah,
fear. Were we going to come out flat?
right.
Playing BC, playing in the dark. It actually was fairly well lit tonight, and there were a few more fans, maybe.
A lot of Virginia fans in the crowd. I saw.
Yes. Did you see
Yeah,
this? Did you see the bench? Did you see behind
Yeah,
the bench how packed it was?
yeah,
If you look behind BC bench, there was like 3 people.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really a different team than when it got blown out by Notre Dame at their place. So, but BC is bad, but the energy
They're
level
decent at home. BC is decent at home. They put up a fight, and they did. But their defense, I think, is the worst in the ACC rating wise. So, probably says something why we scored 72.
Yeah.
They T-Dubs. I mean, they're 10-5 at home.
Yeah. Can we play a lacrosse style game with Dunn on defense and Gross on offense? BC had 9 people in attendance. Yeah,
It's
sounds
true.
good. They didn't double team post. They had a little bit. There was like a couple attempts at it, but
Ryan,
not the norm.
is he talking about BC? Or are you talking about UVA? I assume he's talking about BC.
That's double teaming post.
Yeah. So I saw Ryan Dunn got doubled once, right in the post. I don't know.
What's up, Lance? Yeah, IMAC led the team with +10.
I think
Yeah.
IMAC picks and chooses his spots when to attack, and he knows who he can. Yeah, we definitely need to. Dougie, I don't know if Dougie would have the energy tonight, though. He might be tears right now.
Yeah,
I texted him twice during that. He never responded, so I kind of figured it wasn't going well over there.
Yeah, no Elijah, no Fresh. I mean, I think that's maybe our new rule in the second half. Yeah, the UVA fans were definitely there. It was great. What is with the UVA defense? Gave up 68 to BC. Yeah.
Well, BC's not. I mean, they have capable scorers. Like they're not horrible. The big thing is their defense, like you were saying.
Yeah, they Post is the typical player that we struggle with, right? Big guy who can stretch the floor and also post up. I mean, he's a very difficult matchup for anyone, but specifically for us. He kind of has his way.
Well, and he can pass too. Like he sets his guys up. What was he average? A little over 3 assists. Like he's a really, really good player.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why you don't double him because he can find the open man.
Well, I think they're. I'm not very sure if this is exactly correct, but I think right there at the beginning of the game, they might have tried to double him like twice, and both times it led to at least a look from three. I mean, they weren't hitting, so that was good. But I think we kind of realized very quickly not to do that.
Have you ever seen the UVA defense so porous? What are your thoughts on that, Josh?
I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like I said, I mean, BC's a capable scoring team, and I mean, we talk about how bad that we've played the last few games. Well, we held a pretty good Wake offense in the 40s as well. North Carolina didn't get above 50 until it became a free throw contest at the end. Like, as bad as we've played, it's really just been because the offense has been bad. Like, I don't think the defense
Right.
is as bad as we're kind of making it look to be.
Gave
I
up
also
some.
think that when you play on the road, 68 points to a road team is not to a home team is not so bad. Like
Mhm.
we look at BC, we look at their other games, but also we're talking about UVA defense.
Yeah, Dave said the defense was actually very good. The officiating was terrible after we knocked one of them out. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you what though, there was a point though. He's probably about right with about 7 minutes or so left. Dunn was kind of fighting like for an offensive rebound, and he had both hands on the ball. I don't know what they were looking at. I'm trying to put that nicely, but they called a foul when it probably should have been a jump, if nothing else. And that was kind of a moment that for me I thought was going to be like on Saturday when Baycott had that ball that he pushed down, but they called it out on us, and we kind of just mentally withered a little bit there. And we didn't do that this time. So I mean, I thought that was good.
Yeah.
regardless, we won the game that we really needed. Like at BC, you lose that game, you're gonna probably need to go to the finals in the ACC tournament, unless you beat Duke. But now I feel like BC and then beat Georgia Tech, and I feel like we're I wouldn't say comfortably in, but it seems like we're definitely should be in category. It seems right.
Well, here's the big thing with that too. So winning that game, essentially now we just have to win one to lock up a double bye. Because for the last game of the season, it's going to be Wake and Clemson. Like I think that's like the very last ACC game this year. And those are the two teams that were kind of like 3, 4, 5. Two of the three will
Yeah,
get the double bye. So it
yeah,
kind of does us a favor there if they're one game back. So we could beat Duke and we'll just beat both and not worry about it. But either way, it kind of takes some pressure off. So that's good.
yeah. This was a really big win. That was a low key like must win type of situation for our tournament hopes. I thought. Otherwise, we're doing a whole bunch of like hoping in the end of the season, which you don't want to do. Like it seems like for us to get in, we really needed this win. Absolutely. Um,
Yeah, agreed.
when CTB scores 70 plus, our record is 1,002. Yeah, we don't lose very often when we score 70.
That's pretty close to accurate, I think.
Tough night for Minor. 1-6-5 boards. Yeah, it was homecoming game.
Yeah. Well, that was a tough matchup for him. I mean, Post has what 6 inches or so on him. Like that's a really tough one for him to be scoring the way he does. Only being right there at the basket.
Right. On the point that about fouls, Blake went vertical and gave up an and one, and also undefeated at 19-0 when leading at the half.
Yeah, I thought Blake's was kind of bad, but I mean, call is what it is. Also undefeated in games under 10 points, like single digit games. So that's something good. Even the free throw shooting's not the greatest.
Yeah, Buchanan went straight up with his arms up, and yeah, well, maybe because he is Buchanan.
Yeah.
We did have
Yeah.
the lead for most of the game. It was a
Yeah, that
little
game,
there where
it
they
was.
took the lead, and then we went on that run with the threes. So
Well, what was it? They went up, I think, by 3, and it was the first time it was like, oh crap! Like, not only did they take the lead, but then they got to stop and added to their lead, and we
right,
immediately followed that up with hitting 3 straight threes. So I
yeah,
mean,
3 threes in a row. 2 McNeely, 1 Groves, and that was it.
mhm. Yeah, and the McNeely one, I'll tell you what, the second one, that one kind of had me yelling at the TV a little bit. He got turned when he landed. Like, I don't know why. I thought there was this big emphasis on protecting guys landing off jump shots, and I mean, he gets turned sideways. Like, why is there no foul for that?
Yeah, the second one was definitely contested. Yeah,
Mhm.
That was a tough three he hit, which was really nice that it went in because we needed every one of those.
Oh, yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah, and as Jeff says here, free throws were going down today. It's nice to see in a tight game. Everyone talks about free throws going to get us, but they helped us tonight. Definitely hurt us against UNC, but tonight we're
Yeah, they
nice
were
to see
better
it go
tonight.
down. Yeah,
Two,
Dave.
two games back to back there that we hit 10 plus free throws. So I mean, that's something to build on.
Right. Dave with the length really bothered him inside. I think he's talking about Minor, right? Yeah.
Minor.
So yes.
Yeah, he needed 5 to 7 feet out like Blake did towards the end. Yeah, Blake played well. I know he fouled out, but I like his aggression. He's in there. He's definitely not scared.
Yeah, I think Blake, honestly, I think he was kind of, I don't want to single him out as saying like the problem, but when they did get that, like they took the lead, they made it 3, both plays were kind of involving him, is probably the best way to put it. So it was good to see him kind of bounce back, not get too terribly rattled from that. I mean, he fouled out, but that foul was kind of could have gone either way. So it's not really fully on him.
We win 72-68. Elijah, 0 minutes. What does Elijah feel like going home, Mark? Do you imagine that's your son? 0 minutes, big game, team gets a big win they need. How's he feeling?
I think you continue to I guess ask yourself, or if you're the parent, I I mean, if you're all bought in, then there's no issue, right? But if you continue to ask yourself, well, wait a minute, why did I burn my red shirt here? Right? Was I asked to play? Was I asked to burn the red shirt? If so, like, are you angry? I mean, you're happy. It's conflicting feelings, right? Because you want your team to
Yeah.
win, but you want to be out there playing, and you want to be contributing. You didn't come to UVA, or you didn't go to play college basketball to sit on the bench. You can be playing now. Maybe he has that attitude where I know my turn is going to come. Next year, I'm going to be a big part of this. Right? I've got 3 more years of this to really make my mark. So, um, it just depends on who you are as a person, your personality, and it could be a combination. And you dealt with you know some of these guys really well. Like think of Dev Hall,
Yeah.
right? What happened to him? He was told right in the layup line before the first game of the year. You're
Right.
going to get hurt.
Mhm.
How painful is that?
Yeah, it's not easy, right? You've got to be very. I mean, in today's world where everything is instant gratification, Amazon Prime, to ask some kids to be like, all right, just be patient. You're gonna get your time. It's a lot to ask.
It's a lot to ask, and you have to temper feelings and emotions from the children, from the student athletes, as well as the parents,
Right.
right? And I don't know if they're the parents that are calling up and saying what's going on. This is
Right.
not told us it, but I don't know what the conversation was with who and who it was with when they decided to burn the red shirt year. Right. So my guess is TB spoke to the parents before doing it because he is that guy. Um, I had a yeah. So my experience is if it's early on and there's going to be an opportunity to play, great. But if I were the dad of Elijah and there was a conversation about burning the red shirt year, I would not be
Yeah.
happy.
Well, it's got to be frustrating too when you just played as much as he did against a big time team like North Carolina too. It's not like it's like, oh, this is just the 6th game in a row where maybe he's played 5 minutes or didn't get in or something of that nature. Like that's got to be tough when he played. And truthfully, I thought he played pretty well Saturday. I mean, all things considered, for a guy that's kind of been in and out first year, really getting his consistent minutes like that, and against the best team we're going to play all year, like it's got to be tough on him.
Yeah.
I think that so when you go back and you look at, and this was one of the questions I asked, what is the formula? What is his next game's playing time going to be based on? Will it be
Right.
based on his energy level? Will it be based on his defense? Will it be based on whatever it is? Will it be based on his shooting, his scoring ability to score? And he shot when he was 1 for 7. Right? Was it based on his last couple of practices? Was it based on just an intuition? Right? Just a feeling, just a gut. I don't know the answers to those questions.
Yeah, I don't either. I thought I knew it honestly with the turnovers was kind of the thing that I thought was the biggest issue was like, okay, every time he has played, he's turned it over 3, 4, I think even once 5 times. So I was like, okay, good. He came in, he played a very high level team, and he didn't turn it over in almost 20 minutes. Like, great, we're gonna start seeing him. And then it just kind of disappears again. So it's like, oh man, wonder it could be anything. I mean, I don't know, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think the hard part for at least for me to follow is like rotations on defense because I don't like obviously we don't know all the plays and we don't know everything that's happening and I have noticed in the past Rhodey does laterally he's very quick and he helps like a lot of times especially in transition I notice his help defense is really good and I know like we have an emphasis on that and that kind of that he's not short, he's not, huge, but he's pretty big for a guard, and if he can be versatile like that, he seems to, play into Tony Bennett's system a little better than Dante or an Elijah maybe. I don't know, what do you think, Mark?
No, he's a high IQ player for
Yeah,
sure. He can play multiple positions. You can see him. Saw him run the point a little bit tonight. He plays the 2 and the 3 on offense. If he shot the ball better, a little bit better. Like they made 5 more shots the whole season, 6, whatever it is, threes. We'd all be celebrating him, right?
Mhm.
Defensively, he's good. He's fine. I don't see him get beat too often. He made a couple of good defensive plays tonight. But he's a high IQ player, and I think there's a lot of value in that for Tony Bennett with guys
right,
and that are versatile. So defensively, he's rotate. You're right. That's a big piece of who do I play? Their ability to understand the rotation, right? And there was a play, and I don't know this to be true, but there was a play last game when Elijah rotated late and someone got a dunk, and it
yes,
was, did you see Elijah almost block the dunk?
Mhm.
right,
That's what comment that somebody made. No, dude, that's not how TB works.
yeah,
No, yeah.
It's
Right.
not, right? It's get there, or you might not get off the bench,
right,
right? So I
Mhm.
don't. Again, we don't. I'm not in those meetings. I'm not sure what the decisions are based on. How determined playing time determined.
right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Justin. A lot of times, I remember hearing that too with Justin Anderson back in the day, right, where he would make a great come from behind block when it was like, well, that's because he missed an assignment. And like as fans, you don't you forget the missed rotation piece. You just see the end result of a great block.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think that's the part that's tough for us as we're watching this thing. We're not in tune with everything that's happening, so we don't know what plays are missed, what rotations are missed. That one thing leads to another that collapses something else, and you don't help. And da da da. Like stuff's way more complicated than we give it credit. I think it seems like. Um,
That was kind of a thing with Mamadi a lot too, right? Like early on for him, it
yes,
was like you're always
right.
so wowed by the fact he's smacking it off the glass, but in reality, it's like if he wouldn't have gotten beat by 2 steps, that wouldn't happen.
Totally. That's a perfect example because Mamadi, that was always the case with him, right? Not getting
Mhm.
a grasp, but then him having that like pogo stick mentality, he could get a couple of blocks.
Mhm. Yeah, Jay would kinda do it some too, I guess, but his was more, I think, just because he was that big. He didn't really have to move. He could just kinda turn and block. But yeah, for Mamadi, that was for sure a thing, at least his first year.
Oh, what's this? The Eric said the hat play mark you speak of, CTB got done for leaving Harrison alone when Cormac was going baseline and Gertrude tried to recover.
Oh, is this talking about the play right there at the end of the game?
Oh, this is UNC. He's talking about UNC.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, right there with, like, 40 seconds left or so, and it
Yeah,
was kinda like, "Oh, crap, okay, they've got it."
I think so.
Yeah, because I think that, if I'm not mistaken, that was coming out of a timeout too, wasn't it?
I
That
don't
play
know.
was like a
To,
set
to
thing?
be completely transparent, I didn't see a lot of the game, but I remember seeing that.
I remember it, yeah, vaguely. I just remember Elijah trying to come recover and try to block.
Yeah,
Our elite teams missed fewer assignments and could cover mistakes. Yeah, that's the one thing that's kind of missing on this team is really a rim protecting, eraser, so to speak.
Mhm.
You look back at our Final Four run. How many times did Mamadi? It's clicked for him in that tournament where he got big blocks. Someone else missed an assignment, and Mamadi helps clean it up. You do that 2, 3 times a game, 2, 3 times. is a lot. That's a big swing for
And
a position team like UVA.
and I'm not saying that Jack Salt wasn't a great athlete, but he was a big dude, right? And
Yeah.
he was going to rebound, and he was going to put people on their butts when they tried to come into the paint, right?
Yeah.
And not to mention the year before with Isaiah, right, who was my favorite who. So you're right. The last couple of years we haven't had that presence.
Yeah.
Jay a little bit, Jay some, but not to the extent that Mamadi was, right? Or the combination of a couple of guys, right?
Right. I mean, Mamadi was an incredible by his last year. He was he like put it all together, and he was a blocking machine. Like starting in the tournament, I feel like I don't know what happened. He clicked, and he was recovering quickly, moving laterally. He was great. We haven't had that. I mean, Darion Atkins was great.
Mhm.
Obviously, Akil. I think you know little I know is that Isaiah Wilkins. I just thought his help defense from my whatever amateur eye, I thought it was amazing. I always thought he was everywhere on the court. He could cover almost like 1 through 5. And Akil was like those two for me. I always like was blown away by watching them play defense. I don't know. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, no, Isaiah was tremendous, and I got to see him play a lot more than I did Darian Atkins. Isaiah just was all over the court, and he's IQ was so high.
Incredible. Incredible. I remember just like he was, like how I remember think back in the day, Jordan, you would watch him on offense, even when he doesn't have the ball, you're wondering what he's doing. Zay was like that on defense. I remember just kind of like instead of watching the ball, you'd be watching Zay to be like, all right, what is he doing? That is like so incredible. That's like a special talent.
He was also
Yeah,
a quick decision maker, really quick
yeah,
decision.
Braxton. Yeah, that's another low key. Braxton's defense was
Yeah.
incredible at that stretch, man. He was great too. So we don't. Yeah, we're really missing that style. Not to say Jordan Minor can't be that, but that's
Well, but he's not 6'8", and he's not
yeah,
super.
he's not a quick second bounce type of guy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he's a different player, and we
Yeah,
haven't. With yeah, I mean, in that system, what players fit the system that TB's running?
yeah, Dave saying hoping that Robinson can be in that role next year as an eraser for sure.
Yeah, I've heard
Uh,
some good stuff of A Rob coming out of like practice and stuff like that. Apparently, he might be the real deal. I mean, we'll see. First year big, getting minutes. I mean, he might only get 10 or 15 or whatever the case may be, but a lot of high hopes, I think there.
yeah, Blake is. You're right, Chris. Blake could definitely develop into that. He seems to have
Mhm.
give him some strength and another off season with Curtis, Mike
Yeah,
Curtis. And, it's you can see how he's going to be a really really good player, man.
yeah.
Exciting that he can do.
There was a good example of that too in that game. He kind of tried to work like a little post move, a little spin shot on post tonight, and he just got bodied. I mean, probably 4 foot out of the lane, like just sent him straight backwards. It ended up being essentially a fadeaway, whereas he was kind of going for like the little hook jumper. So yeah, you put 15 pounds on him just so he can stand up for himself. He's going to be pretty solid.
And Dave saying Coffee could be our most athletic force since Mamadi. Yeah, I've heard good things about Coffee. I don't know. I haven't actually watched him any of
I
his
don't.
plays.
I kind of worry though. Is he maybe a little too big? Like might kind of be more of a 5 man.
Yeah, it doesn't. y-
I
Yeah,
don't
I
I
don't
don't
know.
watch a whole lot of the high school stuff, but just a little bit I've seen. I mean, he kind of I don't know. We'll see where he ends up kind of slotting in at.
Yeah, Biggs is so tough to watch recruiting tapes because the competition level is hard to assess. You don't
Yeah,
really know.
I think he's the guy too that he kind of has a lot of that right where he's playing a bunch of dudes that are like 4, 5, 6 inches shorter than him a lot of the time. And of
Yeah,
course, you're just. I mean, I'm not watching full games. I'm just watching some highlights here and there, and highlights make everybody look like superstars. So it's kind of one of those things that's hard to tell sometimes.
yeah, 10 for 10 always highlights. The
Yeah.
next up we got Duke, big big time. I mean, big game. The team heading into Cameron. A bunch of these guys have never been there. It's going to be fun to see how they kind of react to that. I feel like Virginia at playing at Castle definitely is good experience for what the Lions' den they're going to walk into, but I think they'll be ready. It's kind of like the UNC game, hoping we can make it ugly. Yeah, Chris said depth is a good problem to have with bigs. Not something we have this year though. But what do we think? What do we think going into Duke? I'm not going to be able to join that day. I'm going to be in a conference in Denver, so I'll be watching from a bar.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
What's that game? It's a 4 o'clock game, right? 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's one. I'll be honest with you, T-Dub. I don't know the answer to this, so just see if you do. Reese has a chance to be the first player in how long to get 2 wins in Cameron? To be honest, I really don't know the answer to that. I mean, if there's somebody here listening that knows, that'd be cool too. I'd love to see who the last person was to do it. But you think of all the great teams we've had and all the great players we've had. When's the last time somebody got 2 wins there?
Yeah, that's a really good one. Kihei did not get the one.
Yeah, Kihei didn't get it his first year, so he would have just got the one.
Yeah,
the team that missed the tournament that year.
I want to say Doug. Doug may be the last. Doug and his crew may be the last one to get 2.
Goodness, it is a tough place to play. I mean, it's a hard environment to go into, and it's a whole thing. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm going to go on a rant for like 10 seconds here. These guys are whining so much about the court storming. Is there no issue with the fact that they're like 2 inches away from touching every player? Like, all it would take is like a little too intoxicated college frat student, to do something dumb. Like, how is that? You're going to throw a fit about teams court storming and you just do that? Like, come on.
Yeah, the whole thing was, kind of ridiculous. Mark and I have talked about this. I mean, like, their football team, rushed the field.
Yeah, they rushed Clemson. Like, was Cade Klubnik not at risk too? I mean, like, what are we doing here? Yeah. Like, I'm glad he's not seriously hurt, and I would never want anything like that to happen to anyone, obviously. But at the same time, like, come on, guys, really?
Yeah.
Just, you never would have thought you'd have on your bingo card that Wake Forest fans would be the biggest problem causing an outcry,
Yeah. I mean, of course, it's Duke that makes a big deal, right? Like,
oh, yeah, that was totally like the Shire K 2.0 thing going on there with I'll stop. I could go into a tangent on this for at least an hour, so I'll just stop there.
Yeah. Eric also agreed. Jay Willie and Dougie Fresh, that squad got 2. I think they got 2 wins in Cameron over their 4 years. But then it's a little different. Back then, they played them every year at Cameron.
Yeah, that's true too. That is true.
So a little now you probably only got 2, maybe 3 shots at it if you're playing now. So not quite the same. I think that's it. Anything else? 13-0 when we hit 16 plus threes. Probably need Blake again against Flip. Yeah, I mean,
they're probably going to bet on him, right? I would think.
Yeah,
I mean,
Ryan shut him down last year.
So yeah,
it's going to be a good game. I'm excited to see what our game plan is against Duke and that crew. I imagine everybody will be up for that one. That's going to be fun. Reese going in there trying to get a win.
It would be something. I would be very, very hyped for him if he could just pull off getting a second one.
Ty's team was the first one to win at Cameron under Tony Bennett.
Yeah, under Tony for sure. Yep.
And then Reese did it. 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 seasons ago.
Yeah,
what Mark, were you at that game when Ty won?
Yep.
I mean, that had to be the coolest thing ever as a parent, right? Like, just watching that and how it played out, and especially being that it was Ty that made that shot. Like, oh my God, that had to be so cool for you, man.
It's hard to mess the Final Four, but second to that was probably Duke.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, for sure. I get that. Yeah. But God, that just because of like the one play and it was Ty, that made it, like, holy cow, that had to be cool.
You know what? In that game, DeAndre got hurt, right? DeAndre was cooking. He was
destroying a man in the middle of that zone, just tearing him apart.
And then he got hurt. And then we couldn't hit a shot because we went up big.
Yeah.
And then there came Duke, right? It reminded me of Villanova the year before. Mm-hmm. And it's coming back, and then they make and one of the things I will never forget is Ty just being like, "All right, let's take it easy, calm down." I was like, "Okay." okay, good. There we go. And he makes a good steal and come down and make a good play. But it was, and Kyle just shot the ball really well at the end of the game. And Dev made a shot or two. And it was such a good team.
That was a great win. I remember I was luckily there. That
Oh,
was
nice.
kind of that was a bucket list because I went the first time TB went into Cameron. I was like, all right, I'm going. I got tickets and I was like, I'm gonna go to Cameron until I see a win. So I went. I went to a bunch of games at Cameron, and then that one was my last. I was like, I'm not coming back here. Um, that was
That's cool.
amazing. That was literally a bucket list. Like I just was like, I want to see us win at Cameron just one time. So
How many?
I went to all the ones under TV. So like 7 maybe. Yeah.
That's still really
7.
cool, though, man.
Yeah, all of them were close though. Mike Scott had
Mhm.
that 3 in the corner that hit the side of the backboard. Suleiman hit that crazy 3. Grayson Allen had the one travel. Yeah, like I saw some amazing games there. But anyway,
That's so
let's
cool.
go.
Yeah, that's on the list for me too. I'm with you on that. We went to Chapel Hill a couple of years ago, and we were there when Thomas hit that game winner. So I
Yeah.
mean,
No way. That's a
that was
cool
pretty
one.
sweet. Like that was really cool. But
Yeah.
no, Cameron and Fog Allen are the two for me that I'm like, man, if I could get to those two in my life, that'd be sweet.
So, who'd you say for the Cameron? Cameron and which one?
Cameron and Fog, where Kansas plays.
Yep. Yeah.
Those are the two for me they're like at the very top of the list. I mean, Final Four, obviously, like that was the probably the ultimate, just because it's like that's the best your team could ever do. But man, if I could go see us play 2 games, it'd be Duke and Kansas.
Yeah, Julie was at the Duke game too. My brother went to that one as well, so it was pretty special. Yeah, I would say Rupp is one that I would love to go to Rupp and see
Yes.
UVA versus Kentucky that's bucket list. But Louisville, close enough. But honestly, bucket list with the Minneapolis, everything was checked off with that. So
Yeah, I could just that was if they shut basketball down after that, I was kind of like, okay, I can just go contently, like whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with you. Like that there's nothing that will top that whole experience and that weekend.
No, yeah, for sure on that.
Or
That was.
actually that entire run was just all of it was incredible.
Oh, I don't know, man. I couldn't breathe until we got to the Final Four. Like, oh my gosh, I think the downest I've probably ever been so we went to the game the year before with UMBC, and we were sitting over behind the basket, kind of like across from our bench, I guess, but like right behind the basket. And I don't know if this guy was even serious or not, but the guy sitting next to us told us that his son was a manager for UMBC. So, before the game, I'm like, oh, cool, man. That's, good for you. Like, good luck. Hope your son's having fun, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then that starts happening. And this guy just keeps getting louder and louder. And he's not like, like rubbing it in, but it's just like, God, you just got to sit here and listen to it, And I don't think, though, even with that, like as bad as that was, I don't think I've ever been as down as I was at halftime. Well, just, I guess, before halftime of the Gardner-Webb game. When it kind of started so slow, I was like, oh, no, oh, no, oh, no.
Here we go again.
The problem with the UMBC game was Dev getting in foul trouble.
Yes,
Right.
yes, it was.
And on a BS call,
The hustle play when he went for the ball.
it was just like the ref was just. TB told me, because I needed therapy after that game, and a couple of days later, he said the ref came up to him and said, I really appreciate your religious faith, your faith. And he said that ref went on to like kill him and with foul calls, with horrible calls.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, I might be mistaken on this. I'm not trying to single refs out here, but I might be right though. Was that the same ref that called the foul for Kyle to hit the free throws?
I have no idea.
I'm fairly certain I read that he was on that. The dark haired guy, I think, is the same one we're talking about. I think he was on the crew in UMBC, and then he also called that one.
Wow.
Which I might be wrong with. I mean, I might be completely off base, but I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere.
I mean, I probably think about those games once a day. At least at some point in the day, I think about some part of the run. Like my brother and I talk about it. We're like, there's always a moment in the day where I'm like thinking about that play. I made my son watch. He's really into basketball. I made him watch some of the games the other day. So Anyway, it never gets old. I can literally watch and then
Yeah,
anytime. I have them downloaded on my phone, like on long flights. I'll watch them. It's so sad. It's like
yeah, I get
it's
that.
so
I've still got them on the YouTube TV record or whatever, and yeah, they're
sad.
still there.
Dave the Wave said he was in Rupp Arena, but not during a game. I mean, have you
I
been
don't
to Rupp, Mark? Mark, have you been there? No.
No.
I don't know about Rupp so much for me. I mean, for me at least, if we could just play Kentucky, I don't really care where that one's at as much, you know? Like I just would like to see the matchup. I don't want to play them this year, if I'm being honest, but I mean any other time.
This year.
They're the one team that to me, like looking at all the this could be a potential 7-10, this could be an 8-9. They're kind of the one that I'm like, let's avoid that if at all possible.
Yeah, they look very scary.
I'd prefer. Yeah, I'd love to see playing Kentucky at Kentucky.
I would love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
See,
I
I
think
would.
the only way we get Kentucky and Kansas is if we go to the Maui Invitational again and we get matched up that way. Because I've heard Ronnie say that those are teams they just but neither wants to play each other. They're just like they're not looking for those kind of games for home and homes.
Even with the SEC challenge, though, don't think we could get them that way.
Yeah, that we can get them that way, but I mean it's a home and home like to schedule away. It just doesn't seem like that was possible.
Yeah, that the COVID thing was kind of a bum out too, with the fact that we were supposed to be in that. I think the tournament was in Los Angeles, maybe, and it was going to be like us, Kansas, UCLA, and Georgetown. Like that would have been really, really cool. But that one kind of got shut down, and then we end up playing. Who do we play? San Francisco, I think, instead.
We did get Gonzaga randomly.
Yeah, because that was like two opponents canceled on Gonzaga or something, right? Like it just was like, hey, yeah, we'll come play you, sure.
Yeah, that in terms of games left, who else do we want to see, Mark?
Definitely Kansas and Kentucky. We definitely want to go to those places. I don't like. I will sometimes say, wouldn't it be fun just to get in the van and go check out a rivalry game at those arenas, specific arenas, like Auburn, Alabama, UNC Duke. UNC Duke would be incredible. Right?
UNC Duke would be unbelievable.
I don't know if I could do that. I don't know who I would root for. Like that would be.
Oh, definitely UNC.
Well, that's kind of the way I lean, but I mean, I don't know. It'd just be like, I don't know. It's kind of in the back of my mind.
Whatever helps UVA in the standings, probably.
Yes, but it's so hard for me to root for Duke.
No, Duke is impossible to root for.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not rooting for
even for UVA. Maybe if it allowed us to guarantee a spot in the tournament, but outside of that, I don't know. I don't know if it does. So
that Kansas K-State would be a really cool rivalry to check out, though. I don't know why, but K-State always brings it for Kansas. Like that game is just always so good.
Yeah, you're right. Going to rivalry games would be fun, especially if you have no skin in the game. There's no sweat. You're just going to watch a good game.
Checking out the food, checking out the fan behavior, the seats, the arena. We're the best place to sit.
I mean, the UNC game that we went to, Mark, the one right after we played and LeBron was in town. Remember that? Did we drive? I don't even know. I think we drove down. That was
sat next to Jordan.
Sat next to Jordan. That was definitely another bucket list. That was the game where we were like, all right, this team is special, right? To come off of the Duke game and then go in there and Kyle hits those back-to-back threes and the 4-point play. Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh, that's really cool. You guys went to that. That's nice. Yeah, that game was when it was like, okay, these guys like really, because I mean they were in control if I remember right the first half, and then UNC kind of went on a run probably with like 15 or so minutes left, and it kind of spanned for probably 4 or 5 minutes, and it kind of felt like everything had turned, and then resilience, man, just fought right back out of it like it was nothing.
Yeah, that was a great team, Cam, right, Cameron Johnson, and they had Kobe White, and that was a good team.
Nazir Little was on that team.
Yeah, that was a great
team. Yeah, that was the year weren't all three teams were number one. Well, yeah, I mean we won it, but all three teams were number one seeds too, like UNC, Duke, us.
Mark, we like to say that was the last real year of college basketball, right? That's what it felt like.
I mean, there's a lot to what you're saying, right? Because of
all the changes that happened since then, it just feels that way, right? Like there was obviously COVID. And then, like the overtime elite and all of that stuff has taken off, and
so many options now.
So many
all
options.
the NIL, the transfers. It was the last year of college basketball as we knew it, like for the sport that everyone had enjoyed for 20, some people 30, 40 years. Like that was it.
And guys were leaving early, but not like they are now. Right? I mean, last year's draft class to predicted was like the top 20 of the top 26 guys. How many rounds? 30 rounds, I'm sorry. 24 of 30 guys, or 25 of 30 guys.
Yeah.
For freshmen. Right?
Incredible.
Or coming out of high school, overtime or whatever it was.
I mean, LeBron and then Jordan back-to-back games. That was like surreal, at least.
Oh,
Those are the two
LeBron was
goats.
wild. Were you guys were at that, right?
We were at the
That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Just like the ooh and ah that kind of just came over the entire building at the fact that LeBron actually did walk in. Like that was so insane.
Yeah, and then we had Curry. Like we had maybe all the great of greats in this generation. Curry was also there, right? I think Jeff just said the Curry and LeBron at JPJ, and then we've had Jordan attend our game. It's pretty cool, man. That's some amazing stuff. And then obviously they all no, we never played Curry. We never played Davidson. So
yeah,
You
had Patrick Mahomes there at the Final Four. I mean, legends everywhere just coming out.
Your cousin arguing with him.
We're talking trash to each other a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was amazing. No,
Taylor Swift's boyfriend. I mean, man, big time stuff coming for UVA.
Bo Jackson at the Auburn game. That was insane for me.
I know that.
They're yelling at the back of the basket the whole time instead of actually doing his TV broadcast.
Yeah, but Bo Jackson was at that game, Mark, that we were at.
I had no idea.
Yeah, he was not sitting far right, kind of where Mahomes in that area.
Yeah, I don't remember the first one, but Magic was at the second time we played Michigan State. When Justin was trying to work his way back, and he was like walking up and down, rallying the crowd with their chants and all that.
No way.
Yeah, that one was frustrating too. That was the worst because we played the first game in that situation. We weren't the second one. And it was like, I mean, you guys know when you get the ticket, it's like for both games of the session. It's not just for your game. So I was just sitting there and I was like, man, I really don't want to waste the money, but I'm also so frustrated. I really don't want to watch Duke and San Diego State right now,
I'm trying to think. There was another. Oh, David Robinson. I saw when we played Duke. The Grayson Allen game. David Robinson said because David Robinson's son played it. Played it.
Was he walk on? Was he a walk on? I think.
Yeah. No, he was. Well, he was a football player, right? He had a football scholarship, and he walked on a basketball. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
Something like that. We've had some really big. Nolan Ryan was at that. What was the game Nolan Ryan was at a couple of games ago?
He was just at one, right? Not too long ago.
Yeah,
he was just. It wasn't UNC. I think it wasn't a big game. He was just there.
No, it was. Was he there for the Notre Dame game?
Yeah. It might have been.
Or the NC State, maybe.
Yeah, those are big names coming to the game. That's really cool.
That was a weird one too because we were sitting in the same section. I don't remember which game it was, but we were in the same section. We were like at the top. He's down on the court side, and we just saw all the people like gathering. Like 8-10 people at a time, just kind of trying to get to the. It was like, who is this guy? Because these guys back turned. We had no idea. So then seeing it after, that was pretty neat.
Yeah, Nolan Ryan. That's wild. Anyway, all right. Obviously, it's a big night. We're talking about the good times. I appreciate it.
Hopefully that was kind of, cathartic for some people, I guess. Hopefully everybody's feeling good now. Anybody's still watching.
Yeah, you can't fall asleep because of the big win, the adrenaline. So we appreciate it. It's 9:00, midnight for everybody. Everybody have a good night.
Good night.
See you.
Go Who's
Saturday.
That's right. And then Saturday.
Take care, everybody.